Welcome to In Pursuit of Truth. This is your host, Sir Patrick Mack. We got a ton of new Q posts. Slow down, Q. I can't keep up. Let's get right to them. Keep in mind, I always read through these first, so if you want to skip through to the analysis, just click on the timestamp below. Okay, 8 minutes after the hour of 11, we've got a review post here from June 3rd, the boom, 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 boom. Q says, number 100, dark to light, 107 marker. Then we've got a YouTube link. Do you believe in coincidences? Q. 12:02 a.m. Q says, would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit? He did not have his updated phone number. 3 North Korea generals, released in brackets, closed the pathway for bad actors. Q. 12:09, responding to an Anon who says, I think he means that the generals were black hats and that once there was no more connections for the cabal to influence Kim. Q confirms. 16 minutes after the hour of 12. Adding on to that, Q says, ES isn't sleeping well. Q. 12:16 a.m. Responding to an Anon who adds this to the boom, 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 boom. From the summit documents, 4 booms. Boom 1. The United States and the DPRK commit to establish new U.S.-DPRK relations in accordance with the desire of the peoples of the two countries for peace and prosperity. Boom 2. The United States and the DPRK will join their efforts to build a lasting and stable peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. Boom 3. Reaffirming the April 27, 2018 Panmunjom Declaration, the DPRK commits to the work towards complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Boom 4. The United States and the DPRK commit to recovering POW/MIA remains, including the immediate repatriation of those already identified. Q responds, what a coincidence. 4 points, 4 booms. Dark to light, 107. More to come. Q. 12:23 a.m. Responding to an anonymous who says all the POTUS tweets changing council, S-E-L as opposed to C-E-L, equals CrowdStrike. CrowdStrike? Then we have a Donald Trump tweet. The fact that I'm having a meeting and major loss for the U.S. says the haters and losers. We have our hostages, testing, research, and all missile launches have stopped, and these pundits who have called me wrong from the beginning have nothing else they can say. We will be fine. And then we have a reference to a post from back in December 22nd, 2017. Missile, Fox 3 splash as the world turns red October. Q. And Q confirms. 36 minutes after the hour of 12. Responding to an Anon who says OIG report on POTUS B-Day. Comey in brackets, McCabe in brackets, HRC and LL both in brackets. Doesn't this put Rod Rosenstein in a pickle? Q responds, when the info is released, Rod Rowe, no more. When the info is released, no more Russia investigation. It will factually conclude the corrupt nature by which the entire false narrative was created, all to 1. Prevent the election of POTUS, 2. Delay, shelter, mask, hide all illegal activities by Hussein, others during past 8 years. DOJ, FBI, cleanse vital as primary. Huber coming. These people hate America. Q. 12:38. In response to an Anon who says, if you can pull strings, how about getting Acosta's press pass pulled? I'm embarrassed he represented our country in that historic meeting in Singapore. Q responds, think strategically. Does Acosta's continued disrespectful and poor behavior hurt or help us in the future? Let them all dig their own graves. Q. 8 minutes after the hour of 1, we have this picture here, and it is entitled Alaska Vols G7 Sing. 8 minutes after the hour of 4, Q Plus comes on and says, Godspeed, one and all, Q Plus. 37 minutes past the hour of 4, we have a pretty incredible looking picture here. Q says, this is not a game. Certain events were not supposed to take place. Q. 48 minutes after the hour of 4, responding to an Anon that says, supposed missing D, Q says, D. 9 minutes after the hour of 5, responding to an Anon that says, getting some 502 errors. Q says, event talk being attacked. Reference Volpic, POTUS tweets, missing letters. You have more than you know. Some areas we cannot expand on. Critical thinking, Q. 18 minutes after the hour of 5. Adding on to that, we have a picture of a submarine with a very long title. Q says reverse image search. Think hack. Comms dark. Q. 31 minutes after the hour of 5. Ghost-con active. Approval 58203-JX. 8 minutes after the hour of 9, we have a Fox News link, a couple Fox News links. Kashyap Patel, name to remember, Q. Oh, excuse me, connected. Then we have the links. Kashyap Patel, name to remember, Q. 17 minutes after the hour of 9. Adding on to that, good interviews coming up on Ingraham regarding Rod Rosenstein, Freedom Caucus, Q. 9 minutes after the hour of 10. We have this link here to the 8chan. Just a reply to Q from last thread about Ingraham review. It was an awful interview. Once again, weak, ineffectual, limp-wristed promises to hold a vote to hold Rosenstein in contempt. Who cares? Until Rosenstein is hauled off by the White House Sergeant-at-Arms as granted for the Supreme Court, it means nothing. Anyone remember Holder? Nothing happened to him. Nothing. This pisses me off to no end. Just close the fist and crush them already. What the hell is Trump waiting for? Q responds, full weight of the House versus arm. Why are optics important? Why? How does DC work? Why is Ryan still in office? Lame duck? Why is Ryan leaving office? Who controls Ryan? Autists engage. Q. 15 minutes after the hour of 10. In response to an Anon who posts, is Ryan still there because he's going to support POTUS? Q says, who brings the votes? House floor. Excuse me, who decides? Why is that important? What is coming? Full weight of the House. Some must remain clean. Distance from what is about to happen. Q. 34 minutes after the hour of 10. Q says link to proofs. Q. 37 minutes after the hour of 10. We have this link to qproofs.com. Q says no proofs collection here. Pinned. No links within each post. Top. You will need soon. Q. 39 minutes after the hour of 10. In a response to an Anon that says this board in the coming months will be spread and discussed across all platforms. Important to be prepared. Q says think new arrivals. Proofs are important. Thank you, Autists Anons. 49 minutes after the hour of 10. Responding to an Anon who says, Q, if you confirm proofs, then those on Twitter, lurkers, and even those with little to no knowledge of the Great Awakening will pay attention more and add validity to the proofs. The proofs are, and side-by-sides I see that are circulated the most are the ones you have confirmed. 07. Thank you for your service to the Great Awakening. God bless you, POTUS, and to the United States of America. Q says, roger that. Q. And just coming in here at 11:41, MSM attacks, round 2, in brackets. Mossad attempts failed. Clown attempts failed. Expect bigger push. FBI, 4 open investigations. 8chan risk. DDoS plus inject. Together you are stronger. Together you control narrative and response. People respond to logic, facts. People sleeping attached to opinion, personality, groupthink. Fear is real. Fear, in brackets we have regarding Twitter, throttling, and shadow ban, coded QAnon. Fear regarding 4chan mods plus remove, replace, controlled. Fear regarding Reddit mods plus remove, replace, controlled. Fear regarding MSM conspiracy push 1 controlled. Fear regarding Facebook remove, replace, controlled. All those in brackets. Quiet attempts to shut down will become public and loud. Strength together, primary purpose. Do not be silent, majority. They are losing control. Power with the people. Great awakening. Truth. Good versus evil. Where we go one, we go all. Trust yourself. Q. Okay, before I get into all these Q posts, and there's a lot of them, I want to explain something really, really clearly. I think for the most part, most of you guys probably understand this. But for those of you who don't and have left me comments down below, I want to make something really, really clear, because some of you make your comments assuming that I'm doing something out of ignorance, and I am not, and I'm pointing something out to you. Now, I want you to show off this board here, off the QMapp board. I'm looking at this. This was the most recent Q post as of my time, and I received this at 11:41 a.m. Now I want you to look up in the upper right hand corner of my computer. If you can see that little right there, the time says 12:43 p.m. I'm literally an hour later right now. I'm making this video, okay? It is 12:43 p.m. my time on June 13th. It is likely, if you are in Eastern Standard Time on this board, comes in at 11:41 Eastern time. Okay, so it's 11:41 a.m. here. Eastern time, it's 11:41 a.m. there. Okay, in Eastern Standard Time. Now, Q sometimes does post Eastern, what is that? Eastern Daylight Time, right? Is it DT is Daylight Time, right? Anyway, EDT, whatever that is. And I think it's an hour away from EST. But look, some of these boards are just a little bit different. Patriots Fight Board doesn't even have the posts up yet. The most recent post. Okay, so for those of you who are making look, if you're confused or whatnot, I'm sorry, but I want to kind of clear that up for you. But for those of you who had made some kind of rude comments, actually assuming that I don't know how to read time, I'm telling you exactly what's going on. Okay, it is 11:41 that I got this last post, and I'm making this video an hour later. By the time you get it, if you are in Eastern time, or if you're wherever you are in the United States or the Western Hemisphere, might be slightly different, might be a few hours later. Okay, so I just want you to know that I'm aware of it. That being said, if we run into some time issues where Q is asking us to kind of look up a time or search a time of a post or something like that, then of course I'm going to cross-reference all three of these boards, because I want to make sure that you know what's going on, as well as making sure that I know what's going on. Okay, but keep in mind that we have viewers all over the world, so my time matters just as well as Eastern Standard Time. But if you're following off of this post, all you got to do is convert 12 hours. It's very simple. Okay, so if I'm telling you it's 11:41, it is. It's just 11:41 p.m. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I hope that helps, and let's get started. Okay, let's take you back to the beginning. We have got this post from June 3rd, and it's entitled 6/11. Boom, 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 boom. A week to remember, dark to light, blackout necessary, Q. And then Q says number 100, dark to light, 107 marker. Then we got this link. Do you believe in coincidences? Well, do you believe it's a coincidence that looks like a gun and that also looks like a gun, looks like a longer barreled gun? Now Q says number 100, and Q is referencing post number 100 off of the Patriots Fight board. And those are regarding the Singapore pictures that we talked about the other day from 6/11. Now, I'm starting to wonder if this week to remember could be starting as of 6/11. Obviously, we had some very big booms at the summit in Singapore. Big deal. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. Now, Q is referencing this 107 marker, and he's talking about this video from YouTube. Let's check it out. It's a little hype video, and I've got you dialed in at the 1 minute marker. We're going to take a little look at it. Next time, incidentally, White House, next time you do one of these hype videos, let me know. Let's pump this thing up right, all right? I'd do it like a Michael Bay film. All right, here we go.
But the question is, what difference will the few make? The past doesn't have to be the future.
Yeah, it can be the past.
Out of the darkness can come the light, and the light of hope can burn bright.
Ooh, out of the darkness can come the light, and the light of hope can burn bright. Hear it again.
Future. Out of the darkness can come the light, and the light of hope can burn bright.
Yeah, out of the darkness can come the light, and the light of hope can burn bright. Sounds pretty sweet. All right, I still would have made it more like a Michael Bay film, but that's just me. All right. So this looks to me like a marker, and it's probably very much like the video that Q posts a lot, the one that's entitled "This Video Will Get President Trump Elected" or whatever, however it's titled, something like that. This is a marker, and so I have a feeling we're going to use this for reference in future times. So if you want to, you'll have this link down below. So if you want to save it and maybe kind of look it over, it's an interesting video, and I have a feeling there's a lot more probably veiled references that are in there, and we don't have time to cover them all in this video. But if you would like, we can always check it out at another date. So for now, we are moving on. Okay, but excuse me, one last thought on that. Like I said. So maybe we were thinking that the week to remember, of course, was last week, and it was. I think so. But maybe this also could be signifying the beginning of this week, too. And, of course, we're already in Wednesday now. But who knows? Who knows? We shall see. Cool. Moving on. Q now says, would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit? He did not have his updated phone number. 3 North Korean generals released, closed the pathway for bad actors. Oh no, that's terrible timing. So somewhere, Hussein is dialing him up, got him on speed dial. He's like, hey, bro, what's going on? And all he's getting is, we're sorry. The number you were trying to dial has been disconnected. If you feel you have reached this recording in error. And Obama's like, yeah, I think so. I'm starting to panic here. What are you talking about with Trump over there? Well, he doesn't have the updated phone number anymore. He probably threw that ZTE in the river. Probably got himself an Apple phone. He's playing Angry Birds now. He's all stoked about his new toys. Well, we had these 3 North Korea generals, and they were released. And that happened right before the summit. This is off The Guardian. North Korea sacks top 3 military officials as nuclear summit nears. North Korea's top 3 military officials have been removed from their posts, a senior U.S. official said on Sunday. A shakeup that could signal the North's leader, Kim Jong-un, is working to silence dissent ahead of a summit with Donald Trump in Singapore next week. The U.S. official who spoke to Reuters on condition of anonymity was commenting on a report by South Korea's Yonhap news agency that all 3 of the North's top military officials were believed to have been replaced. Yeah, so they did that, and they got them kind of out of the way so that they could have a nice summit. Now look how happy everybody is. They're like, yeah, we're getting Big Macs, all of us. And if we blow up another one of our locations, then Trump's going to tell us what a Hooters is. Let's move on. So this next post is in regards to this post. And it was a series of Anons talking on 8chan about what this meant, the North Korea generals that were released. And one person was talking about kind of taking it out of context, thinking that the generals were white hats. And this Anon comes in and says, I think he means that the generals were black hats, and that once they were gone, there was no more connections for the cabal to influence Kim. And on that board, it doesn't link you from this board, but if you clicked that, it would take you to this post on the 8chan research board. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense for those of you who don't follow, including me a lot, but I do sometimes just use it for reference. But that's what Q is doing, is affirming that. So the generals were clearly black hats, and once they got out the door, they were free to have a summit. And I think the outward narrative was that at the time, Trump canceled the meeting, saying that they were being rude and this and that, they were being hostile and this and that. I think it was just basically throwing a bone to the press, giving them something to talk about for another 48 hours while they handled it, and they got rid of these generals, and then we were back to business at hand. All right, let's move on. Now, this next post here, Q adds on, ES isn't sleeping well, Q. There's a lot of people who think this is Edward Snowden. This would be Eric Schmidt. Edward Snowden in Q usually references as @Snowden. So this is Eric Schmidt. Now, bet he's not sleeping well. Why would he be? After all, Eric Schmidt, he's got some ties with North Korea, doesn't he? Now, this is from Daily Mail, UK, back in January 2013, and I want to kind of bounce between a couple articles here for you to tell this story. But if you remember, Bill Richardson and Googly's Eric Schmidt, there they are getting off the bus. They're all smiles. They're ready to hit the Pyongyang, the nightlife. Gonna see what's up, find some Stacy's. No, you can't do that. You can't do that in North Korea. There's nothing like that. You can't go hit the beach. You can't go surfing. What were they doing there? Well, according to this article, it says this is not a Google trip, but I'm sure he's interested in some of the economic issues there, the social media aspect. Yeah, I'll bet he is. So this is why we were teamed up on this, Richardson said, without elaborating on what he meant by the social media aspect. Yeah, what do you know about social media? Now, Bill Richardson, okay, former governor of New Mexico, and he was real popular for a while. He was trying to be Secretary of State, but then he got busted, taking some money, $100,000 for PACs. All these guys were taking PACs. Chuck Schumer was taking PACs. Everybody was taking PACs. And he was another one of them. So, and then you've got Eric Schmidt, Googly, Alphabet, Capital G Investment, which was all up in the Clinton campaign, weren't they? As a matter of fact, they were kind of helping run it, using the website and everything like that. They were big-time Clinton supporters. And, of course, CrowdStrike, which was in charge, didn't want to give the FBI all that data on those servers. Nah, give it to CrowdStrike. Give it to Googly. They got it. Well, it says here, we'll meet with North Korean political leaders. We'll meet with North Korean economic leaders, military, and we'll visit some universities. Okay, so you're meeting economic leaders because you want money. You're going to universities because you want research. And that's all going to lead to something that you're going to sell, probably, to the military. And he says, we don't control the visit. We'll see about that, okay? So this was a while back, right? And they went back there. And next thing you know, all these things start going awry. Let me give you a little timeline here. And I want to take you off. This is off American Digital News, and this is a great, great timeline that I want you to see. 2008, Eric Schmidt working with John Podesta, Bill's chief of staff. 2009, Bill Podesta visit North Korea. 2009, Hillary appointed as Secretary of State, gains access to special access programs. Keep in mind, that's really, really important, including NASA. Yeah, special access programs. That's above top secret level stuff. And that's important stuff to know. 2010, CFIUS approves Uranium One deal, chaired by Tim Geithner, CIA guy. 2011, BHO, Barack Obama cancels NASA shuttle program. SpaceX wins U.S. grants. Yeah, and who was invested in SpaceX? Lots of people were, including Googly, 10%. Also, Jack Dorsey at Twitter. And remember, Twitter, SpaceX, that's also Rizvi Traverse. Okay, and that's Suhal Rizvi of Rizvi Traverse. So all those guys, that's Muslim Brotherhood, by the way, all invested up into SpaceX. 2012, Eric Schmidt visits North Korea with Bill Richardson, what we're talking about right now, former Secretary of Energy. And that's pretty high up. That's L level, whatever it is, L1 or L5 or L whatever. Remember, the other day we were talking about L5, Secretary of Energy, Energy Department. Important to remember. 2014, Eric Schmidt starts assisting with Hillary's 2016 presidential campaign. Yeah, that's weird. 2015, Hillary's private email server discovered. 2015, McCain, Barack Obama gain access to SpaceX, ULA out of the picture, as well as kind of NASA. Eric Schmidt invests $100 million in CrowdStrike, gains access and leverage. 2016, DNC email server contents leaked to WikiLeaks, not hacked. 2016, January, Barack Obama gives North Korea $1.7 billion in cash and 10 tons of uranium. 2016, March, Schmidt invades, gains access to SpaceX with $1 billion investment. 2016, November, Trump wins the election. North Korea restarts nukes and missile tests. 2017, North Korea demonstrates nuclear warhead and intercontinental ballistic missile capability to reach U.S. 2017, 30th of October, Obama present for North Korea nuke talks with China and Russia. 2017, November, record 4,300 sealed U.S. court indictments registered in 45 days. And then the 20th of December 2017, tax reform signed. 21st of December, new executive order, and hours later, Google's Eric Schmidt resigns. Okay, well, remember, gaining access to these special access programs, top level programs, including NASA, big deal. Those would be secrets, right? Well, right around that time, China starts popping up with these planes. This is the J-20th. And remember, everybody was remembering J-20, not J-20th, J-20. So, and this plane looked oddly like this one from Lockheed Martin, the F-35. Take a look again. And we had all this stolen technology from Lockheed Martin. Now, hang with me because I'm going to take you a little bit into the weeds, but I think it's important for future posts and future events. This is off of the freebeacon.com. As of January 2015, NSA details Chinese cyber theft of F-35 military secrets. This was a project called Byzantine Hades. China obtained more than 50 terabytes of data from U.S. defense and government networks, notably the Joint Strike Fighter's stealth radar and engine secrets through cyber espionage, according to a newly disclosed National Security Agency documents. An NSA briefing slide labeled Top Secret and headline, Chinese exfiltrate sensitive military data, states that the Chinese have stolen a massive amount of data from U.S. government and private contractors. The document was made public by the German magazine Der Spiegel in 2 articles detailing how NSA in the mid-2000s was capable of conducting global cyber intelligence gathering by tapping into the networks of foreign intelligence services and stealing the data they were collecting from others. The unique capability of spying on the spies was described in a series of documents that were stolen in 2013 by former NSA contractor Edward Snowden, currently a fugitive in Russia. For the F-35, according to NSA, the Chinese were able to obtain digital design information on several different types of radar module used by the fighter. Okay, so it goes on to talk about the F-35, and I don't want to go way off into this, but I just want you to kind of understand the connection and remember the connection. You guys probably remember this. Now, Let me take you down to here. A separate NSA document outlined a Chinese cyber spying operation codenamed Byzantine Hades that included 12 coded subcategories. These included Byzantine Candor, a subgroup concentrated on the Defense Department, commercial oil deals, and current geopolitical and economic events. That doesn't sound right, does it? Other elements of the operation included cyber spying on Congress, weapons contractors, the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, and the Energy Department, which is in charge of building nuclear weapons and developing advanced technology. The Byzantine Foothold subgroup was used to target Transcom and the Pacific Command, as well as defense contractors. In Byzantine Candor, cyber attacks, the Chinese used Facebook as a command and control point for planting malware. One NSA slide showed that victims who unwittingly accessed a Facebook page through an email would end up with their computers under the remote control of the Chinese. The report said in late October 2009, the NSA was able to penetrate a Chinese hacking virtual machine that was linked to the 3rd Department of the People's Liberation Army General Staff Department, the Chinese NSA known as 3PLA. The Justice Department last May indicted 5 PLA hackers for their roles in a major cyber espionage operation against American companies and a labor union. Okay, so you may remember this, or you may or may not, and it starts to get really convoluted here. But clearly, we know that Eric Schmidt was wrapped up in some crazy, crazy stuff out there, and Hillary Clinton had this access to these special access programs that she wasn't supposed to have. She wasn't authorized, but she had them. And of course, all that stuff either got damaged or smashed. They sure wouldn't give it up to the FBI. And of course, they gave it to CrowdStrike. Well, CrowdStrike was the one funding it in the first place. And CrowdStrike, very possibly, also was involved in a leak with the Chinese Byzantine Hades operation as well, through an Aurora program. That's something different. I want to take you way off in the weeds, but it's all connected. Okay? So could it be that material that was on these special access programs were the very material that were resulting in the changes the stolen programs to the F-35? And I want you to keep the F-35 in mind. Let's move on. Now, in the next post, we kind of shift gears a little bit. 12/16, we got this boom, 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 week to remember, dark to light. And this Anon says, from the summit, documents 4 booms. Boom 1. The United States and the DPRK commit to establish new U.S.-DPRK relations in accordance with the desire of the peoples of the two countries for peace and prosperity. Boom 2. The United States and the DPRK will join their efforts to build a lasting and stable peace regime on the Korean Peninsula. Boom 3. Reaffirming the April 27, 2018 Panmunjom Declaration, the DPRK commits to work towards complete denuclearization of the Korean Peninsula. Boom 4. The United States and the DPRK commit to recovering POW MIA remains, including the immediate repatriation of those already identified. And Q says, what a coincidence. 4 points, 4 booms. Dark to light, 107. More to come. Okay, so like I mentioned earlier, it looks like that marker is going to be, we're going to use that video some more. And it's also a Q proof, really, if you think about it, which I think Q is going to be asking for very soon. But it's another Q proof, this dark to light thing, okay? Because the dark to light was mentioned here well before the video was put out, okay? So for those of you who need it, especially people who are new to Q, there's another one for you. But yeah, for those of us who have been following for a while, we're just kind of starting to see the rhythm. And of course, these were 4 great, great big booms. They weren't the kind of booms we were expecting. We were expecting deep state booms. But I'm going to be honest with you. For humanity, these are big booms. And for the Korean people, whom I have a ton of Korean friends in my personal life, congratulations to all of you. I know a lot of them are very, very excited. Of course, they're all a little bit wary and skeptical, but I think also optimistic. And it's an exciting time for humanity. So let's all hope this keeps going well. Congratulations to President Trump for all you've been able to accomplish, and congratulations to you too, Q. All right, let's move on to the next post. Now, this Anon is saying all the POTUS tweets changing council to council. We talked about that a little bit. It was supposed to have with the C. It should be CIL or it was always messed up. It was always messed up. And so this Anon is trying to ask if the mix-up between the C and the S is trying to show that we're talking about CrowdStrike. And the response is this tweet right here. The fact that I'm having a meeting in a major loss for the U.S., say the haters and losers. We have our hostages, testing, research, and all missile launches have stopped. And these pundits who have called me wrong from the beginning have nothing else they can say. We will be fine. Okay, well, right off the bat, you can see that missile is missing an I. And we're missing a P. Now, I'm not exactly sure what that is, but I have some ideas. Let's take you to the next one. And this takes you back to December 22nd, where we had the same I missing. Missile, Fox 3, splash. As the world turns, red October. So let's talk about this a little bit. So if you remember, this was from back in December. And for those of you who are new to Q, or if you need a little refresher course, basically, this was back when we had the false flag attempt on Hawaii. Okay, and the outward narrative story was that somebody scrolled down to the wrong menu and, clicked a button. All of a sudden, we had this, DEFCON alert, and everybody was panicking. Well, Q was telling us there probably was a real attack going on, but didn't really give us the entire details. Just gave us some of these kind of things to sort of seek out. Now here, we also have this reference to the missile missing an eye. What came away from the eye? Well, I don't know exactly about all of this, and I don't want to go way back into rehashing this again. But let's look at this Fox 3. I have a couple theories on Fox 3. Now, first of all, in regards to this, as the world turns, red October, we have Fox being Foxtrot class submarines. And we were looking for a submarine at that time. We were wondering if there was maybe a Soviet Union submarine in the waters at the time. The Foxtrot class was the NATO reporting name of a class of diesel-electric patrol submarines that were built in the Soviet Union. The Soviet designation of this class was Project 641. Okay, so I'm not so sure if that's our Fox 3. Now, the original thought I had here, and this is from Quora.com, Fox calls indicate the launch of munitions from an aircraft, is a shorthand for Foxtrot, which is often used to mean fire. Fox 1 indicates the launch of a semi-active radar-guided missile like the AIM-7 Sparrow. Head down and hope the chicken missile sees its reflection in the ground. Fox 2 indicates the launch of an infrared-guided missile like the AIM-9. Find it something hotter or more tasty than you. Fox 3 indicates the launch of an active radar-guided missile like the AIM-120. Don't be on the other end of this call. Well, let's look into this AIM-120. There it is right there. The AMRAAM air-to-air missile is the world's most sophisticated air dominance weapon. With more than 25 years of design, upgrades, testing, and production, the AIM-120 missile continues to meet all warfighter requirements. Its capabilities have been fully demonstrated in more than 4,200 test shots and 10 air-to-air combat victories. The AMRAAM missile is a versatile and proven weapon with operational flexibility in a wide variety of scenarios, including air-to-air and surface launch engagements. In the surface launch role, it's the baseline weapon on the NASAMS launcher. Okay, so there it is. And I found this interesting. Procured by 37 countries, including the U.S., the combat-proven AMRAAM missile has been integrated onto the F-16, F-15, FA-18, the F-22, Typhoon, Gripen, Tornado, and Harrier. The AIM-120C5 and AIM-120C7 missiles are fully integrated onto the F-35 and support the U.S. Marine Corps' F-35B initial operation capability as the only air-to-air missile qualified on the F-35. The NASAMS launcher is deployed by 6 countries, in production for a 7th, and has been integrated into the U.S. National Capital Region's air defense system since 2005. Manufactured by Raytheon and Kongsberg, the NASAMS system is in service with Norway, Finland, Spain, the Netherlands, the United States, and one undisclosed country. It is also currently in production for Oman. Okay, so could that be the Fox 3 that we were talking about? And I don't want to rehash Hawaii too much, but if you'll remember, we had some rumors that there might have been a sub in the water. Something might have fired a missile at Hawaii. And that was when we saw the I missing from missile. And now we see it again. Now, there's some theories here with this Trump tweet. And if I may, what I'm simply thinking here is that it's reminding the people who are reading, including us, about what happened in Hawaii. But particularly here, we have an I and a P missing. An I and a P. I and a P is missing. It's almost like somebody stole our IP. Who stole our IP? China. Trump campaign website in the trade section calls for the U.S. to go after China and others for stealing American IP. This is off of IP Watchdog. Trump on IP and patent reform. What Silicon Valley doesn't understand. Last night as the election was called for Donald Trump, this is back in 2016. Last night as the election was called for Donald Trump, Bloomberg government's patent reform news alert circulated a new article from ARS Technica highlighting how bad Trump would be on IP issues, mostly because he does not have specific positions. Okay, so could that be the stolen IP that we're talking about? After all, we were talking about China, and Trump was going after Silicon Valley. Well, who's a big player in Silicon Valley? Eric Schmidt. So if I can kind of sum it up, because I think this goes very, very deep and deeper than I can really catch right now. But we've got CrowdStrike, Googly, Eric Schmidt, special access programs that were on these servers that were guarded by CrowdStrike, but they were owned by Hillary, and God knows what was on them. Top level stuff, NASA and above. And NASA goes to the wayside. Googly and Twitter's SpaceX starts busting out as a major player, firing up all these satellites. And we've got this missing IP, intellectual property, that was leading to China getting all this tech. And did it lead to an attack that was used on us? That was back here in December. And the Red October led us to a steel plant, a faulty steel plant. So I'm not exactly sure where the connection is with there, but that was a Russian plant. So if you can find a connection there, that would be great. But I think what we're seeing here is that clearly there was no reason for Googly to be in North Korea messing around other than playing with our intellectual property and setting up programs and systems. Who knows? Maybe they set up an IP out there. But I think we're talking about the stolen intellectual property. But either way, it looks like now we have our hostages, our testing, research, and all missile launches have stopped. So we should feel good about that. Let's move on for now. OIG report on POTUS birthday. Ooh, that's the 14th. That's real soon. It's real soon. Super soon. It's tomorrow. Comey, McCabe, HRC, Aunt Loretta Lynch. Ooh, doesn't that put Rod Rosenstein in a pickle? Yeah, he is in a pickle, isn't it? When the info is released, Rod Rowe, no mo. When the info is released, no mo, Russia investigation. It will factually conclude the corrupt nature by which the entire false narrative was created. All to 1, prevent the election of POTUS, 2, delay, shelter, mask, hide all illegal activities by Hussein and others during the past 8 years. DOJ, FBI, cleanse vital as primary. Huber, Cumming, got to clean the house, and we've talked about that. And it took a while, and it was very, very frustrating. Probably the ugliest part of this whole thing so far has been the DOJ and FBI cleanse. And I don't know, I'm not even thinking about the Russia investigation anymore. It doesn't even seem like anyone's talking about the Russia investigation anymore. And then, of course, we had Rod Rowe. He was in Canada. And he was hanging out with all the Bilderbergers trying to figure out how they were going to get some cash. He is going to be in a pickle. Once the world realizes that Comey and McCabe lied, and that Loretta was talking about making some deals with HRC on the tarmac, about maybe being Supreme Court. Who knows? But they were talking deals, and we should have it all on audio. God, I just want to hear that audio. All right, let's move on. Now Anon says, if you can pull strings, how about getting Acosta's press pass pulled? I'm embarrassed he represented our country in that historic meeting in Singapore. Q says, think strategically. Does Acosta's continued disrespectful and poor behavior hurt or help us in the future? Let them all dig their own graves. Yeah, this kind of holds true for not just Acosta, but and clearly, and those of you who don't know, Acosta, he got bumped from a press conference, and he was real mad about that, and so he decided to lash out and just speak real ill and whatnot. And the sad thing is that nobody's putting their country first anymore, and you can really clearly see what side they're on. And yeah, I think Q sums it up pretty well. Let them all dig their own graves. Look, by the fruits of their tree, we'll know them, right? So, Costa, the more he talks, the more he'll probably end up just putting himself in trouble. So, man, I'm not really worried about it. But everything went really well. It was a little bit embarrassing, but definitely didn't overshadow the event. All right, so we're moving on. Now we got this picture right here. Ooh. What's this? Let me take you back to the QMapp because it says Alaska, Vols, G7, Singapore. All right, Alaska, Vols, G7, Singapore. I see a mountain, I see a third, and I see a couple mountains. Maybe like 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Might be some more in the distance there. Not really sure. Vols. We talk about volcanoes. Are there Alaskan volcanoes? What's this thing flying over there? Is that a plane? Is it Superman back there? Is it an alien? Who knows? Is it just another trail plane? Something flying off in the distance there. What's going on with the Alaska Vols? What's the Alaska Vols? Well, we know they got some volcanoes out there. As a matter of fact, June 12th, they had a minor earthquake on Redoubt Volcano, Alaska. It was a magnitude of 2.8. Didn't seem like it was a big one, but it most certainly must have been a boom if you were in the area. Now, judging by the picture that we're looking at, which is, right here, and you can see that I'm assuming this is the route from the G7 from Singapore and probably going over Alaska on the way home. Now, what's in the air? Who knows? Could it be a missile? Could it be something fired? I don't know. It's hard to really speculate, and I don't have good enough software to really break that picture down. But there's clearly something in the air near the volcanoes, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But incidentally, this is from June 7th, 2018, U.S. News. Alaska and Hawaii congressmen want to beef up missile defense. Yeah, I'll bet they do. 2 senators from opposing parties say are introducing a bipartisan bill that would strengthen the United States missile defense against North Korea. U.S. Senator Dan Sullivan, an Alaska Republican, and U.S. Senator Brian Schatz, a Hawaii Democrat, announced their bill Thursday. Schatz said the bill beefs up a missile defense system to better protect his state of Hawaii, Sullivan's state of Alaska, and the U.S. mainland. Schatz says he supports diplomacy with North Korea, but it's necessary to also plan for the worst. Sullivan says the bill would authorize the development and deployment of space-based sensors. He says the measure helps protect against an ever-evolving missile threat. The bill also includes a focus on working with allies to share missile defense capabilities and calls for more rigorous testing. Yeah, you never know when a missile's going to get fired over your state. For the next 2 Q posts, I'm going to actually take you over to the other QMapp because they're not on the QMapp. So I'm going to take you on to QAnon. As you can see, it looks like they had been taken down. And I'm not going to spend a bunch of time on them because there's probably a particular reason. And I am not interested in feeding the enemy any information either. But we've got some codes here. This first one here, 1473, bunch of code. I don't want to go into too much of it. There was one thing that I did think about this with this castle arrival good. Now, I've always thought of the castle as possibly being the White House as a reference, and there's a lot of people, that would argue that could be true or not. There's a lot of different arguments for castle. Now, knowing what we know about maybe something, I don't know if something's going to be going down here in Alaska, which would be on the West Coast, which got me thinking. The Blue Angels, which are blue metal, used to fly over Cinderella's castle, and they would always announce it. And maybe there's a reason that they do that other than just for show. Maybe the outward thing is to show everybody for show. Now, I don't know. That's just a random thing, but I do know the Blue Angels, of course, are the fighter squadron, the Navy fighter squadron. And they used to fly over for show, and they would always announce it to go over. I lived on the West Coast when I was younger, and so that could be something. Maybe that's a particular position or whatever. Anyway, I don't want to give away too much. Like I said, if there's people listening that, obviously these were taken down for a reason. So if you don't mind, I don't want to go way into this stuff. And this is all Cody code stuff, okay? And so I'm not really sure. But a Fox M1 stolen takedown action KDN. Sorry, let me just go ahead and read you the other one just so you have it, okay? But you got a series of numbers. Okay, and then you got some brackets and a T in the brackets. Castle arrival good blue metal. Okay, and I hope you understand this sounds like it's pretty urgent stuff, and I'm not interested in breaking this down too much. Fox M1 stolen takedown action KDN, a bunch of zeros. Vic Intel. Okay, so certain I don't know if these are certain operations, certain certain calls. Cons, situation awareness. Remember, Q told us to maintain our situational awareness. On guard, Z bunker. Sounds like a defensive move to me. Sounds like defensive actions, but that's all I know. And then I'm going to take you back over to the original site that I was on. And Q next post at 8 minutes after 4. Godspeed, one and all. Q plus. Now we're hearing from Q plus. So sounds like Q had to rush out the door. And then that takes us to this picture here. And let me blow it up so you can read the bottom. It says skunkbayweather.com. Now, Skunk Bay is up in Washington. So, again, we're on the West Coast, and it looks like we got a missile fired. And that's definitely a missile. Okay. Now, I don't know of any military bases out there. It does not look like there's an installation on there, so it would lead me to think that it could be fired from a submarine, which is leading me to think that we could be right about these missiles that we were talking about. Okay. And now Q says this is not a game. Certain events were not supposed to take place. Q. And then the next post, 448, Anon says supposed missing D, and Q says D. Now I don't know what the missing D is about. Now let me take you back to the picture again. Skunk Bay. I'm assuming, so that's got to be, I don't know the Pacific Northwest that well. For those that do, would that be near, like, would that be Whidbey Island? I'm not really sure, but this came out June 10th, okay? So this was just the other day, 3:56 a.m. So if anybody in that area has any news on that, I would love to know. But the D, maybe could the D be, excuse me, could it maybe just imply that it's defensive? Could it be that they're firing a missile off there? And, I'm trying to think of the deep state. What would they be doing right now? Maybe they're trying, it didn't work with Iran. It didn't work with North Korea. Maybe they're going to try China, and they'll use it under the guise of a North Korea summit, saying that maybe China's not happy because of the summit or this and that. They'll find some way to spin it. I don't know. I'm just theorizing, but could it be possible that they're trying to launch a missile attack and blame it on China and get us all razzled with China? Don't know. Your guess is as good as mine on that, but it seems like we got some really, really serious events here. Now we have on this next post, getting some 502 errors. Yeah, no kidding. Q says event talk being attacked. Refer Volpic, the Volcanoes pic, POTUS tweets, missing letters. You have more than you know. Some areas we cannot expand on. Critical thinking. Okay, well, I think we're on to something. Clearly, we've got something involving some missiles in the Pacific Northwest up here. And Q adds on and gives us this. And this right here, we got a submarine. Looks like the Pacific Northwest. Was that the submarine that fired off that missile? I don't know. Now Q says reverse image search. Think hack. Comms dark. Well, that wasn't too hard. We just took that JPEG and reverse image search, and it takes us right here to fifth domain. Chinese hackers steal sensitive Navy program data. Wow, so we were on track. Cyber attacks sponsored by the Chinese government infiltrated a U.S. Navy contractor's computers, allowing digital thieves to access sensitive data related to secret Navy projects on a submarine anti-ship missile. The information stolen was stored on the contractor's unclassified network, despite being highly sensitive nature, according to information obtained by the Washington Post. According to the report, 614 gigabytes of material on a closely held project known as Sea Dragon were taken. Contracted for the military organization Naval Undersea Warfare Center, Sea Dragon aims to develop a supersonic anti-ship missile for use on U.S. submarines. Commander Bill Speaks, Navy spokesman, confirmed that measures exist which require companies to notify the government when a cyber incident has occurred, as had occurred in this instance. Experts have witnessed a recent reemergence of China-based hacking programs that had seemed to have gone dormant for a while, said Christiana Breifman-Kittner, principal analyst at cybersecurity firm FireEye. China has increasingly grown not only as an economic cyber threat, but an online menace to national security as well. So could it be that the Chinese are the cyber threat? Or could it be the ones that were infiltrating all that where all those special access programs got access to all this stuff and sold it off to other countries, and now they're able to hack our stuff, and that's why that was not supposed to take place. Let's take you to the next post. 31 minutes after 5, Ghost Con active approval F58203-JX. Okay, well, I don't know too much about this ghost. We've had a couple references from Q Ghost Prime, and there was one time where Q had mentioned that there was a noted IP address, and it was known as Ghost. So I'm not sure if that would be the exact same thing. There's some people that thought Ghost Prime might be a reference to Snowden. I'm not sure if this means that there could be some Ghost Con being active, might be active on the HAN boards or on the, I don't know, one of these boards, not really sure. Let me know what you guys think. As far as the approval 58203-JX, I originally thought maybe JX was a reference to Jacksonville. Not sure, but then, and that led me to think that this might be an area code, but the area code goes to North Dakota. So I'm not really sure. Let me know what you guys think about that one, but I'm going to move on. And now Q says connected, and we've got 2 Fox links here. And then Q says Kashyap Patel, name to remember. So the first one takes you here. And yeah, here to Fox News. Nunes Gowdy accused DOJ of launching anonymous attacks on congressional investigator. 2 senior House Republicans are accusing the Justice Department of being behind anonymous attacks in the press targeting a House Intelligence Committee GOP staffer who helped author the committee's well-publicized memo alleging surveillance abuse by the FBI and DOJ during the 2016 election. The same House staffer is also a driving force behind the latest Russia records standoff. I would have a lot more respect for DOJ or House Committee Democrats if they would take out their frustrations on members of Congress and leave staffers alone, South Carolina Representative Trey Gowdy, the Republican chairman of the House Oversight Committee, told Fox News on Monday. The members make the final decision and are responsible for them, not staffers. Attacking staffers, planting false stories, and endangering national security by leaking sensitive information to the press, including information about intelligence sources. This is what the DOJ is doing. This is why the trust in the DOJ is rapidly eroding in Congress, said California Representative Devin Nunes, the GOP chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. In response to the GOP committee chairman, Justice Department spokesperson Sarah Isgur Flores said, as Deputy Attorney General Rod Rowe has said repeatedly, we don't put a lot of stock in anonymous sources over here, and we are committed to continuing to work with Chairman Gowdy and Nunes to accommodate their request. All right, so look, they're saying they don't accommodate or they don't put a lot of stock in anonymous sources, even though that was pretty much how this whole dossier started. Somebody overheard somebody who knew somebody in a bar who said that they had a contact with Russia or whatever. Okay, it was a mess. It was nothing. It was a bunch of nothing. And now it's just a bunch of stalwarting, and it looks like people within the DOJ are threatening probably low-level people and putting all these false stories, because those are people that are easy to influence. People who are young, they're getting into Washington and trying to do all this stuff, and it'd be probably easy to kind of mislead them. Citing a former federal law enforcement official, the New York Times reported that Rosenstein, who oversees the Russia probe, felt misled by Nunes' staff over House Intelligence Committee investigator Kash Patel's travel to London last year. The newspaper, citing the same official, reported Rosenstein wanted to know if Patel was attempting to interview former British spy Christopher Steele, the author behind the salacious anti-Trump dossier. But the House Intelligence Committee said the staffer was already in London on committee business. All right, so what was this knucklehead doing over there in the first place? Interviewing this Christopher Steele. What's the big deal with this Christopher Steele now? Q is saying Kashyap Patel is a name to remember. This is the primary author of GOP memo tried to arrange Steele meeting outside official channels from the Hill back in, this is February 2018. Kashyap Patel, a senior staffer for House Intelligence Committee Chairman Devin Nunes, sought a meeting in London with Christopher Steele, a former British intelligence agent commissioned by opposition research from Fusion GPS to research the Trump campaign ties to Russia, according to the New York Times. Nunes last summer reportedly sent Patel and another Republican staffer on the committee to meet with Steele at his London office to establish contact with the former agent's lawyers, but showed up unannounced and were denied the meeting, a senior committee official told the Times. The move was unknown to Democrats in the U.S. Embassy in London and did not go by the standard protocol of arranging the meeting through attorneys. So we get this Patel guy giving them a taste of their own medicine by showing up unannounced. And they don't like that. And it looks to me like that kind of results in some threats that were going on. And Q is saying to pay attention to this Kashyap Patel, because likely as this IG report comes, be very, very interesting to see if he did meet, if he ever got to Christopher Steele. And if so, why not? After all, they got to him. Now, Q says good interviews coming up on Ingraham regarding Rod Rowe Freedom Caucus. Q.
I'm confident that Deputy Rosenstein, 28 years in the Department of Justice, did not improperly threaten anyone on that occasion. But we do believe that we have tried to be cooperative with them and made progress in months as the months have gone by, and in fact have had some good relationships with top members of Congress.
With the war between the DOJ and Congress heating up, 2 lawmakers join us tonight to make a major announcement exclusively on The Angle. Here are Oversight Committee members Mark Meadows and Jim Jordan. Jim, what do you think about what you just heard from the Attorney General?
You're almost flabbergasted. I mean, what is the Attorney General saying? Rod Rosenstein hasn't complied with Devin Nunes' subpoena, hasn't complied with Chairman Goodlatte's subpoena. We've caught them hiding information in the Strzok page text messages, redacting the fact that Peter Strzok was friends with Judge Contreras, one of the FISA court judges. They tried to hide that from us. And today we learned in Catherine's report that the head of in essence, the head of the Justice Department, Rod Rosenstein, was threatening members of the House Intelligence Committee for doing their job, for trying to get answers for the American people. And the Attorney General says that's okay, we're doing just fine. I didn't know he had said that when you just played that. I'm like, are you kidding me? This report of Catherine is unbelievable. When you have the head of the Justice Department, Rod Rosenstein, saying he's going to go after staff members, emails and communications.
Going after he wants your BlackBerry.
We're doing our constitutional duty as that's scary.
Yeah, Mark, Congressman Meadows, what I think he's saying is that if you guys hold him in contempt, he's going to have to defend himself. And part of the defense will be he wants discovery. He wants to know who you've been talking to, who you've been talking to. He wants to know your text messages. You know, maybe they won't redact your documents like they did the page and Strzok text.
There's 2 problems with it, Laura. One is that we're a separate branch of government. They don't have the right to do that unless we're coming under some kind of criminal investigation. And for the Attorney General to say he's confident that Rod Rosenstein did everything right, well, I'm confident he doesn't know what he's talking about. I'm here to tell you, we're fed up with it. We've been working on a resolution. We've got a resolution here tonight that we're putting the finishing touches on. We plan to file that tomorrow, but really it's all about compelling DOJ to turn over documents so that we can do proper oversight. You know, if they have nothing to hide, turn over the documents. Jim's exactly right. This is just inexcusable.
Okay, so what happens? That is a resolution to compel the production of documents. Haven't you already been?
Well, we've subpoenaed them already.
Yeah.
And
so what is that resolution? Tell us what it is.
We're putting together a resolution. We would frankly like subpoena. It's another thing if the House of Representatives would actually go on record and say, Mr. Rosenstein, we as the House, a majority of the House say, you're not giving us the information we need. And frankly, now that we have found out that you were threatening members of the committee staff, a standing committee in the House of Representatives.
His defense. He's going to defend himself against your threatening to call him in contempt.
Well, Laura, let me just say
how does he defend himself
if
he
wants
can't
to
get
defend
discovery?
himself? Let's come on tomorrow night. Let's let Rod Rosenstein come on with Jim and I. We'll lay out the facts. He can lay out his talking points.
I've invited him on the show.
And you know why he doesn't come on is they'd rather do private press releases to spin the narrative at midnight and try to act like they're complying. Listen, we've had a document out since November 3rd of last year asking for documents. We still don't have them. We have less than 60% of those documents.
Is this draft that you have, is it going to call for his removal? What is this?
No, it just calls for them to really produce the document.
What if they give you?
Well, obviously.
Well, they've been doing that all along. So if they do it again, then you at least have at the House spoken and say we want this information, and if they don't comply with it, then everything's still on the table. The same issues are still on the table. Contempt and those remedies are still on the table. But we're like, look, let's have the House make a.
Okay, so Jim, I don't like to wear a jacket. Jordan sounds pretty upset. And of course, so does Mark Meadows. But we know what this leads to. This is just a bunch of lip service. This is just a bunch of outward narrative. Oh my God, well, we sent a really mean letter and then we're going to subpoena. And then when they subpoena us back, we're going to give them a counter subpoena. And they're just going to keep this thing going. Now, moving on to the next post. Anon says, just a reply to Q from last thread about Ingraham interview. It was an awful interview. Once again, weak, ineffectual, limp-wristed, promises to hold a vote, to hold Rosenstein in contempt. Who cares? Until Rosenstein is hauled off by the House Sergeant at arms, as granted per the Supreme Court, it means nothing. Anyone remember Holder? Nothing happened to him. Nothing. This pisses me off to no end. Just close the fist and crush them already. What the hell is Trump waiting for? Q says, full weight of the House versus arm. Why are optics important? How does DC work? Why is Ryan still in office? Lame duck. Why is Ryan leaving office? Who controls Ryan? Autist engage? Q. So yeah, as much as I hate to say this, because it's the same answer for a long time. And I think Q's had to give the same answer for a long time. And I think a lot of people are tired of hearing the same answer for a long time. But the fact of the matter is that all the pieces haven't really been in place. Full weight of the House versus the arm. You know, you can't drop a fist with just your arm. You got to put the whole weight down. Why are optics important? Optics are crucial. And I can't really, I can't stress that enough. Let me give you an example. So here we are. We're doing all this Q stuff. And we're kind of like, when we started out doing all this Q stuff, we were kind of this fringe group. And then it kind of blew up a little bit, and then it kind of became a conspiracy thing, and then it kind of fizzled out, and it's gone through all these levels or whatever. But it's always kind of been this fringe thing. Q is not mainstream. And the optics of that are important, because how seriously you take Q will be how, usually is kind of a direct correlation to how much you pay attention to Q. For people who are into it, we see the benefits of it, and we see that it's not a sheepish kind of effort. We are going out and we're trying to find things and get things done ourselves. But until this narrative is seen as something that is not fringe, it won't get accepted. And you can see by just, I'm sure you all have friends that just won't see this. It doesn't matter how much fact you shove in front of their face. They'll somehow brush it off as a conspiracy theory because that's what they've been sort of conditioned to think. And we know how DC works. Deep state controls puppets. And it doesn't matter whether you're a Republican or Democrat or whatever. Ryan is a lame duck. Why is he leaving office? Because he's not worth it anymore. He's just sitting there biding his time. He's no longer a deep state puppet. Who controls Ryan? Trump controls Ryan now. Ryan is in lockstep with Trump. And that was something that we'd never seen before. But now we do. Those strings have been cut. Autist engaged? Yeah, I think so. I'm feeling pretty autistic right now, I guess. All right, let's move on. This Anon says, is Ryan still there because he's going to support POTUS? Who brings the votes? The House floor. That would be the speaker. Who decides? Why is this important? Because Paul Ryan's in lockstep with the president now. He controls him, like we just said. What is coming? IG report, full weight of the House. Some must remain clean, distance from what is about to happen. And yeah, and that's why we're seeing all this, Jeff Sessions looking like such a fool and, all that kind of stuff. It's just dragging out, it seems like, because it's got to be the right time. The optics have to be right. And that requires patience. This whole movement has required patience. And it's hard, but what can I say? That's the only way that this is going to work, because we got to ride this out towards elections too if we want to get the right people in office and win in the long run, because that's what it really matters. Trump can do a lot of reforming, but if we don't get people in that are going to speak for the people, it won't matter, because it'll go right back to the deep state infiltrating again. You understand what I'm saying? We're moving on. All right. Q says, link to proofs. And that's all we got. Then in a non-response, qproofs.com. And I haven't been to qproofs.com, but you can check it out if you want. Q says, no proofs collection here, pinned. No links within each post. Top. You will need soon. Okay, so again, Q is asking us to refine our game, make it even clearer, make it more concise. I wish sometimes that Q would mention our channels on how we can do that as well too, because it really helps. I'm a big fan of always trying to refine the method, and any way that we can make this more effective for people to understand things, the better. So there you go. Q's asking us to get to work again. And this Anon says, this board in the coming months will be spread and discussed across all platforms. Important to be prepared, which is what Q has told us before. Q says, think new arrivals. Proofs are important. Thank you, Autist Anons. Q. Well, I can say as a content creator, I get new people every day. And to all those people who are new, welcome. If you have questions, post them down below. People are very, very helpful. So don't be afraid to ask questions about things that maybe you don't understand, or if you need some backgrounds. We move forward so fast that it's very, very hard. I know I've been asked a lot to make a Q proofs of film, but to be quite honest with you, there's so much other things to cover where I'm just trying to stay current. That it's been honestly a little bit tough to make, although I do agree it's important, but there are some good ones out there. So if you folks who need that, or maybe you're looking for that, I would just say go to this qproofs.com for now and see. I think you'll at least be able to find some graphics, and I'm sure Anons below will let you know as well how to kind of help you get going. But Q is encouraging us, and it sounds like they're expecting new arrivals, so this Q thing is anticipated to keep growing. Now this Anon says, Q, if you confirm posts, then those on Twitter, lurkers, and even those with little to no knowledge of the Great Awakening will pay attention more and add validity to the proofs. The proofs and side-by-sides I see that are circulated are the most of the ones that you have confirmed. 07. Have I seen that's a 07, or is that a... Oh, it's a salute. Is that a salute? I don't know. I don't get this stuff, and I don't spell more like that either. I don't know. Maybe I'm old. Thank you for your service to the Great Awakening. God bless you, POTUS, and the United States of America. Q says, Roger that, shipmate. All right. Now this gets interesting. This is our last post, 11:41 a.m. MSM attacks. Yeah, here we go. Round 2. It's going to get uglier. Mossad attempts failed, and that's the first time that we've heard much about that. It's going to get very interesting, and whenever we talk about the black cube, things start to get really ugly. Clown attempts failed. Expect bigger push. FBI 4 open investigations. 8chan risks. DDoS and inject. Okay, so it looks like people are going to start getting bounced, blocked, banned, you name it. Incidentally, even before the end of this video, for those of you who cut off the end of this video, if you're new, if you like this video, please click like, share, and subscribe. You will get unchecked. You will find that that bell is missing. You will find that YouTube is working against you and me. So I'm just telling you that so I can avoid the algorithms right now. Okay, we're moving on. Together you are stronger. Together you control narrative and response. That's right. People respond to logic and facts. Well, they're starting to. They're starting to, aren't they? People are sleeping, attached to opinion, personality, groupthink, fear is real. Yeah, watch out for all the new hot stuff on Twitter. Okay, I love me some Twitter too. It's fun, it's engaging, it's quick, and but at the same time, be careful. Fear is real. Fear regarding Twitter, throttling and shadow ban, coded Q Anon. Yeah, so I don't talk much Q on Twitter for that reason, but it happens, and I see it all the time. And it wouldn't matter. I would imagine if it starts happening on YouTube as well, I will let you know, and I will probably start retitling my videos. But until then, we'll see. Fear regarding 4chan mods and remove, replace, controlled. Fear regarding Reddit mods, remove, replace, controlled. Fear regarding MSM conspiracy push, controlled. Fear regarding Facebook, remove, replace, controlled. Okay, so Q's going to get a big hit on 4chan. We're going to get a bunch of Q is a LARP and a fake stuff going on. And you're going to get all these channels popping up talking about it. And then it's going to get a bunch of drama. And then it's going to ask everybody about it. And everyone's going to freak out. And it's just going to be the same stuff that Q already warned us about. So we're just going to retain our situational awareness. Quiet attempts to shut down will become public and loud. And that's how we will build our voice. And that's how we will improve our optics. Strength, together, primary purpose. Do not be silent. I'm doing my best. They are losing control. Power with the people. Great awakening. Truth. Good versus evil. Where we go one, we go all. And Q says, quite honestly, one of the most important things that I've ever seen him say. Trust yourself. And I agree. It's tough times, folks. I don't ask you to trust me. I don't ask you to trust anybody. You trust yourself. Trust your instincts. Now, there's a lot of people working our asses off to get this information to you. And I want to show you something. I don't remember what the beginning of my video was, but I'm going to show you the end of my video. You can see that it is 6:08 p.m. I've worked all day on this for you, and I love it. And I love you guys very much. I love my country. I love humanity. And there are a lot of entities out there trying to keep you and I apart, not just you and I, but all of us content creators. And they do a lot of things that we probably don't tell you about. It makes our day very difficult. And it doesn't matter, because this needs to get out. And we're going to keep doing this until the end, until we win. And hang in there. Maintain your situational awareness. Maintain your compassion. Maintain your composure. And when it gets to be too much, sometimes go out and take a walk and get away from it. It's okay. No point in having freedom if you can't enjoy having your freedoms, right? So there you go. Those are your Q posts. I have a lot more news that I'd love to share with you, but I'm going to save it for another video. We're already pretty long. It's going to take me a while to upload this video and get it out to you. So there you go. That's the best of what I've got for you today. Thanks to all of you who have stuck with me throughout this video. If you like this video, please click like, share, subscribe, share. Please share this message. The more we share, the more we win. And I appreciate all that you do. Keep it cool. Keep it cool with each other down below in the comments section. Love you all. This is Sir Patrick Mack. And until next time, stay just a little bit longer.